Second live of the day. Just did Michael Jordan. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the North Carolina kid born in Brooklyn, New York. Nobody like Mike. Now we're going to Kobe. You know, the one of the coldest guards ever. Another 6'6", two guard. You know, cold man. We did Kobe before, but I just want to do it again with a little bit better sound. You can watch the old one too, just in case if there's some things in there that appeal. But cold man. Cole was the son of an NBA player. So when you a lot of times we see that a lot of these guys who make it to the league have a parent NBA players. If you look at the themes, a lot of times they're connected to somebody within the league. And your boy Cole was on a Jelly Bean Bryant. Jelly Bean Bryant's a Philadelphia cat. He's a 6'9", you know, player. He went to LaSalle, played for the Lakers, was drafted by the Golden State Warriors in the first round, 14th pick. You know what I mean? Um, Played overseas, and Kobe grew up overseas in Italy, playing with in the same league as Mike D'Antoni. And if people don't know, that's the reason why Kobe wore the number 8, because of Mike D'Antoni. D'Antoni was a big inspiration for Kobe. Ended up coaching him later in his career with the Los Angeles Lakers, right? And the thing with Cole, man, Cole, he came back to the United States at about 13. He went to high school in Ballackinwood, which is outside of Philadelphia, more of the suburban area. And he went to Lower Marion in 1992, 1990 to 1996. Um, Cole was dominant, man. He was dominant, He averaged 30 a night. Junior year, third night, senior year, Kobe was one of the top players in high school basketball. He becomes a McDonald's All American, and he loses the Shaheen Holloway. Pats in New Jersey was the one who got MVP in that game. Shaheen Holloway, if y'all remember, St. Pierre's run from a couple years ago in college. Shaheen Holloway was the coach, right? Shaheen Holloway was MVP of the McDonald's game. Ended up going to Seton Hall. Now he is the coach at Seton Hall. Yeah, so it's a lot of full circle stuff in this game of basketball. But your boy Cole, man. Yeah, let me know where you're from if you jump in the live. Let me know any questions you may have. Feel free to like. Feel free to subscribe. Talking about Kobe Bryant. Yeah, Kobe, very confident at a young age. Dominant in high school. Takes Randy Norwood, who's one of the biggest, pop stars at the time in the '90s to the prom, right? So Kobe's not afraid to ask questions. He's not afraid to be himself. In that press conference, you could remember he had those glasses, and he's like, "Listen, I'm taking my talents to the NBA." Right? He gets drafted in the first round, but a lot of interesting things. Like you could probably go back and look at that workout that he had with the Lakers and Jerry West. Jerry West knew what he was getting into, and they trade Vlade Divac for him. Um, Calipari probably wasn't. He wasn't. I feel like he wasn't confident at that time to be able to draft him because he's a high school kid. I don't know if that'll be the right thing to do. When Calipari was with the Nets, John Calipari is now with the University of Arkansas. Was the coach at the University of Kentucky for many years. Won a title with Anthony Davis, Michael Gilchrist. I don't know if you remember him. From Michael Kidd Gilchrist is another Philadelphia guy, similar to Kobe. Um, Went to St. Patrick's High School in Jersey. John Calipari ended up choosing Kerry Kittles in that '96 draft. So that '96 draft, we just talked about Jordan in '84 draft, and this is the '96 draft, right? '96 draft, '84 draft are probably two of the most legendary. Feel free to let me know what that. 96 Marcus Camby in that draft. You had who else was in the 96? Ray Allen in that draft. You had Stephon Marbury in that draft. Ray Allen out of UConn. Stephon Marbury out of Georgia Tech, New York guy, right? Um, a lot of good players in this 96 draft. It was legendary, man. Kobe was in that draft. Um, a lot of really, 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 probably the most deep draft the NBA has ever seen. That 96 draft was crazy. ESPN did a documentary on it as well. But that 96 draft, probably the best draft, or at least the deepest draft in NBA history. Kobe, Steve Nash also in that draft. Steve Nash out of Santa Clara. Steve Nash, the Canadian cat. Maybe want to do a. I might have to do a Steve Nash story time. And Kobe gets drafted to the Lakers. Early Kobe, number 8 Kobe. He's just a little different, right? Kobe was very flashy. He's coming off the bench. Del Harris is not really trying to play young guys, right? So Kobe's trying to prove himself. Kobe's like, listen, like I know I could play at this level. And he realized like not everybody at the NBA level were working as hard as he was, right? They had just signed Shaquille O'Neal in the offseason. Shaquille O'Neal is the biggest signing of the offseason, right? Shaquille O'Neal is 7'1", 300 something pound, one of the most dominant forces the NBA has ever seen, right? So they have Eddie Jones, they have Nick Van Axel, they have a good team. They have a good team. So Kobe's coming off the bench. Kobe's coming off the bench for the first couple seasons. What's up, Jonathan? Where you from? Where you from? Thanks for coming in. Anybody feel free to ask me any questions. Like, subscribe. We're talking about Kobe Bryant, right? If you're a Kobe Bryant fan, let me know. Kobe was my favorite. California, okay. So you a Lakers fan? So 97, the 96, 97 second year in the league, Kobe makes the All-Star team. So this is 97, 98, right? Kobe makes the All-Star team. He's a starter in the All-Star game. Probably some of the media, they wanted to see him go against Jordan, and Green Bay. Okay. Green Bay. Is that Northern California? I've been to Northern California. I've never been to Southern California. I've been to like San Fran for some business stuff for work. But yeah. So Kobe's coming off the bench. Eddie Jones is a starting two guard, but Kobe's coming off the bench. He's the start. Kobe's starting the All-Star game. Him and Jordan are going back and forth. He's not scared of Jordan. He's even asking him questions, right? Kobe's trying to take over as the heir apparent. Oh, Green Bay Packers. Got you. Got you. Got you. Got you. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you think about them this year? What do you think about them this year? Um, do you think Kansas City's gonna run it back? Yeah, so they're the Lakers going into his third year. I don't know if you'll remember. This is the year they play against Utah. Utah in the finals. Kobe comes down, air ball. 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 4 air balls. This is they're pretty good. Heck yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they might have a good shot. They might have a good shot. Um you re-signed Love, right? You re-signed Love. The Yeah, so Kobe's super confident at a young age. He's not deterred by like shooting air balls. And if you listen back to some of the interviews, he's like, he's getting consoled. But like, Kobe's like, listen, I didn't even care that I was shooting air balls. All I knew was I had to get my legs stronger. So when I'm in the fourth quarter and I'm tired, I'm able to hit these shots, right? So it's like Kobe always had that confidence. He always had that confidence, right? Going into 2000, I feel like this is where Kobe comes into his own, right? They have Glenn Rice. I believe they have Ron Harper, right? Shaq, him. Um, uh, that 99 season, though. Oh, let me plug in. But that 99 season, they have 4 All-Stars on the Lakers, right? It's Nick Van Axel. It's Nick Van Axel at the point. Nick Van Exel played since played for Bob Huggins. I don't know if you remember the legend Bob Huggins. He was at West Virginia when I was at West Virginia, so he was our coach. Um, had a lot of tough guys. Kenyon Martin, another guy, another Bob Huggins guy. Um, yeah, they have Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones out of Temple, I believe he's a big fan of Paul Walker. Okay, okay. What position does Paul Walker play? The or are you talking about Paul Walker? Yeah, what position? The they have Shaq obviously, and they have Kobe, four All Stars. And then the next year they go to the finals. They play against if you remember they play against Indiana, right? That was the first finals that they won. Kobe came into his own. That's when I felt like Kobe was really becoming Kobe, right? He had that little afro, you know. He was really he was more of a playmaker early in his career because his team was built around Shaq, right? But Kobe was willing to accept that, right? We did the Michael Jordan. Oh, Fast and Furious. Okay, yeah, yeah. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know if that's the Paul Walker you were talking about. Yeah, rest in peace, Paul Walker, man. Paul Walker was a legend, man. The Fast and Furious series was crazy, man. Yeah, 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 yeah. Fast and Furious is crazy. They're coming out with another one, right? I believe they're coming out with another one. It might be, yeah, The Rock in them. Yeah, that Fast and Furious. Yeah, Paul Walker, rest in peace, man. He was a legend in that movie. Um, yeah. So they um they win the first title, right? Next year they go against Allen Iverson and the Sixers, right? So if you remember that Sixers team, Allen Iverson, same draft as Kobe. Um, Derek Fisher is also the same draft as Kobe. Derek Fisher, appreciate the like who liked the video. Derek Fisher also the same draft as Kobe. Derek Fisher at a Louisiana at a Arkansas Little Rock, right? Um, Yeah, so Allen Iverson, same draft as Kobe. They got Aaron McKee, they got Eric Snow. They're a very defensive team. They got Dikembe Mutombo. They're very much built on the defensive end, and it was a lot of Allen Iverson on the scoring side, right? If you remember early 2000s basketball, that's not, that's fair. Early 2000s basketball, wasn't the same level of scoring. Wasn't the same level of like teams being stacked with multiple great players like the 80s was, like the 70s was, like the 2010s were, like the 90s, the early 2000s, those eras that there weren't as many great players on one team. Allen Iverson's torch in the NBA. He's MVP, Dikembe Mutombo's Defensive Player of the Year. They go through some really good battles. They battle Milwaukee, right? They battle they beat Vince Carter and if you remember like what Vince Carter was doing early in his career, they beat Vince Carter and the Toronto Raptors. And going back to the last video, we were talking about Vince Carter a little bit. He's another University of North Carolina Chapel Hill guy, similar to Michael Jordan. If you watch the last video, we did the Michael Jordan story. He was recruited by Roy Williams, played under Dean Smith, just like Jordan, right? 6'6", athletic guard. Similar to Kobe as well, right? And then they go against Allen Iverson and the Philadelphia 76ers. Allen Iverson goes nuts. I believe he had like 45, like 48 or 45 or something in the first game. Philadelphia wins that one. The Lakers adjust. They win every other game in the series. Next year, they go against Jason Kidd and the Nets. Jason Kidd, this is the first of Jason Kidd's back-to-back finals runs, right? They have Kenyon Martin. They have, I believe, Richard Jefferson. They have a lot of these guys. Um, the Nets, this was back when the Nets were in New Jersey, right? They were in East Rutherford. If anybody from New Jersey or that New Jersey area, I'm from New Jersey. They were playing at, you know, they were playing at that particular arena, Continental Airlines Arena, back then, and Jason Kidd was bringing them the finals, man. And he never got an MVP. Some people argue that Jason Kidd probably should have got an MVP at that time, but he never did. They go against the Lakers, they lose. The next year, Um, they go against the Lakers and they lose. So that was the first. That was the three-peat of the Kobe and Shaq era, right? So then, after that, um, they kind of break up. Shaq ends up going to Miami. They end up winning a title. Him and Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is a young guard out of the Illinois area, Robin, Illinois, originally from Chicago. Dwayne Wade's 6'3" 3/4, 6'4", two guard, underrated guy. Didn't have the grades in high school, ends up going to Marquette. Um, Legend in Marquette. I remember watching him throwing up triple doubles in the '04 NCAA tournament. I never even heard of this kid, Dwayne Wade, and he's just torching the NBA. Becomes one of the top picks in the '04 draft. Right? We talked about the '84 draft. We talked about the '96 draft. This is the '04 draft. LeBron, right? The '04 draft, one of the other legendary drafts in NBA history, right? So there's a lot of thematic things when it comes to the NBA. But they yeah, they end up the Lakers end up breaking up. Before they broke up, they had that so and the Nets and the Spurs had that title game. Super like low scoring, super defensive game. The year after the Lakers last three-peat. And then the Lakers revamp. If you remember, the Lakers got Gary Payton. Yo, what up, Jonathan? The Lakers got Gary Payton, and they get Karl Malone, right? They get Karl Malone. They're both at the end of their career, but they're trying to get another title, right? They ride the four Hall of Famers to the NBA Finals. They lose to Detroit. Detroit had probably one of the greatest defenses, if not the greatest defense of all time. Larry Brown was the coach. He also coached that Philadelphia 76ers team that had Allen Iverson and Dikembe Mutombo. He's a coach that used to coach at the University of Kansas. I believe he won a title at the University of Kansas. So Larry Brown's a legendary coach. Wins one of the greatest, probably the biggest upset in NBA Finals history. Washington Bullets winning their title was probably one of the surprises. Maybe the Houston Rockets, I believe, won in the '70s as well. Oh yeah. Me. Yeah. Can you, if you want me to subscribe to your channel, uh, can you like look at one of my old videos and then drop it in the comment section? Because I won't be able to see the comments after this video. But if you like just pick on one of my older videos and then I'll get the notification, then I'll be able to subscribe to your channel, Jonathan. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah, just look at whatever one. I should be able to do it. You know what I mean? If you want to subscribe, also, I don't know if you did. I don't know if you said, yeah, if you want to subscribe as well, we both subscribe to each other. Um, yeah, so they play in the finals. It's Chauncey Billups at the point. Chauncey Billups is a guy, Colorado kid, right? University of Colorado, starts his career off rocky, right? Played on a bunch of different teams, played in the beginning of his career with Kevin Garnett, in Minnesota. Like the thing with Chauncey Billups is like certain guys they took a long time. Steve Nash took a long time to really find his footing in the NBA. Certain guys they take a while. The thing with Chauncey Billups, Steve Nash was behind Jason Kidd though when Jason Kidd was in Phoenix. But the thing with Chauncey Billups is similar to Steph Curry, he grew up as a two guard his whole life, right? Chauncey Billups is a two guard, and he's coming to the NBA because he's about 6'3", 6'2", and plus, give or take, right? So he's got to adjust. And Chauncey Billups is not like a super athlete, so he's not really gonna play the two in the NBA. And it's early 2000. This, yeah, you're talking about the early 2000s, late 90s basketball, right? So when you're under 6'4", they're pretty much turning you into a point guard, right? You saw that a lot of times. That might have been one of the reasons, if you think about it, why John Starks was listed at 6'5" when he was probably only a 6'3", right? Because they're just turning guys into point guards. I remember Joe Forte, if you remember him coming out of UNC, turned him into a point guard. Dwayne Wade, who we discussed earlier, 6'4", they turn him into a point guard, right? When you're under a certain height at that time, they were just making guys play point guard, right? So Chauncey Billups had to turn into a point guard, and Chauncey was like, he was struggling. He was struggling. So he got to Detroit, find his footing. Chauncey was like he was steady, not really like a pure point guard. If you look at it, he never really averaged like crazy assist numbers, right? But he was steady, he controlled the game, and he was really good defensively. Then you have Rip Hamilton, who he might have been 99 draft out of UConn, right? They won the national title at UConn under Jim Calhoun, legendary New England area coach, Jim Calhoun, if any of y'all remember him. And then who else did they have? They had Rasheed Wallace, right? We're talking about Philadelphia dudes. Kobe Bryant's a Philadelphia dude. Rasheed Wallace is a Philadelphia dude, right? Went to North Carolina. We're talking about North Carolina dudes. Larry Brown's a North Carolina guy. Michael Jordan's a North Carolina guy, University of North Carolina, right? Rashid went to Simon Gratz, right? I believe he went to Simon Gratz in Philadelphia. Um, we're looking at Tayshaun Prince, University of Kentucky. We're looking at Ben Wallace, University of Virginia Union. I believe similar to his buddy Charles Oakley, who played for the Knicks. Also, I believe he also went to Virginia Union, right? A D2 school, HBCU. Shout out to HBCUs. If anybody went to them in the chat, or if you're gonna watch this video in the future and you went to an HBCU, Virginia Union D2 guy, right? But similar. Those guys were just guys that worked their way into the NBA, and they fought to get to where they are, right? And they're scrappy, and they're going against the Lakers, man. The Lakers are the juggernauts of the NBA, right? They ended up beating them. Kobe and Shaq end up going their separate ways. All right, I'll check it out. I'll definitely look to check that out. I'll look to subscribe after. Um, no problem. What kind of content do you have? A lot of Green Bay Packers. I'll definitely look to check it out. Yeah. So the Lakers have to retool, revamp, right? Kobe, after Shaq leaves, Kobe goes nuts. He's averaging like 35 a game, right? Highest scoring average of his career. Like the 2 years that, but they don't make the playoffs that year. Kobe goes nuts individually. Lakers don't make the playoffs, right? A couple years they just weren't where they need to be. Then enter the era of Andrew Bynum. Andrew Bynum, a kid out of St. Joe's Metuchen in New Jersey. And you have Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom, a New York guy, played at the University of Rhode Island. Oh, cool. Cool. You make shorts? Yeah, I got to check that out. Um, Lamar Odom played at the University of Rhode Island, like a point forward kind of guy, versatility. He was from the early Clippers days. Him, Darius Miles, with the whole, Harry Darius Miles, Quentin Richardson, that whole era of Clippers basketball. And him, Andrew Bynum, and Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol, one of the most legendary players out of Spain. Speaking of international basketball, since it's Olympics time, Pau Gasol, legendary player. His brother Marc Gasol, another great player out of Spain. Marc Gasol being Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA. Yeah, you look at these guys, and the Lakers were able to get those titles in the as the early 2000s progressed. So I believe it's 07, the Boston Celtics get the title with that three. It's Kevin Garnett, it's Ray Allen, it's Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce out of the University of Kansas. He's a Long Beach guy, Long Beach, California. No, Inglewood, California guy. You have Ray Allen, who was a part of that 96 draft. We mentioned UConn, University of Connecticut. And who else? I was on that. Kevin Garnett at a Farragut Academy at a high school. He's from South Carolina. Did his last year at Farragut Academy in Chicago with Ronnie Fields. Ronnie Fields, one of the most legendary players in high school basketball. He was, you know, one of those dudes. One of those dudes, super athletic, had an injury that kind of stifled his career. But super athletic, if you go back and look at his highlights. Um, and then in '08, the Lakers get it. They go against Boston. So it was like a back to back, taking it back to the old '80s days of Boston and LA. They have a crazy NBA Finals. Lakers get them. Then '09, Lakers go against Orlando. If you remember Dwight Howard, Jameer Nelson, Michael Petras. Not sure if AJ Red was on that team. I believe he was. If you remember, let me know in the chat. Thanks for the like on that. Who Anybody who liked the video, thank you for liking it. Feel free to subscribe, everybody. Always doing looking to do content every day. We're doing the stories of NBA players today. Doing a little marathon here. Um yeah, so the Lakers win it '09, and that was kind of the end of Kobe's, championship runs. After that, there was a lot of injuries in Kobe's career. He's getting older. But another memorable time was the Olympics. The Olympics is 2008 Olympics. If you remember in '04, LeBron, Melo, Wade all went to the Olympics with Tim Duncan, Stephon Marbury. They lose. They might have got the bronze actually, right? And the problem with that team, they couldn't shoot the three ball well enough, right? And in international ball, it's not about just getting a whole bunch of dudes that are really good. You got to be able to play the international game, right? They weren't shooting the three ball well. They probably made the least amount of threes of anybody in the tournament, right? So you needed that kind of three ball shooting, stretching the floor at that time. The international game was evolving, basketball itself was evolving, right? So um, that was a legendary run. There was one coach, assistant coach, who this is a crazy story. So everybody listening to this story, this is crazy. So Kobe, like, he calls the assistant coach. It's probably like, I don't know, in the early morning, like, let's say 4 or 5 in the morning. He's like, "Yeah, you want to shoot?" And the coach is tired, doesn't really want to do it, but he's like, "This Kobe Bryant, I'll do it." Right? He comes in. Kobe's working out. He's been grinding. Right? It's like 4 or 5 in the morning. They shoot for a little bit. They shoot for a few hours or so. Coach goes home. Right? Comes back in. Kobe's in a full sweat, drenched, and he's like, "Yo, Kobe, when did you get back in the gym?" And Kobe was like, "Wait, get back in the gym?" Crazy part, Kobe never left. He never left the gym. He was in the gym the whole time because he knew LeBron, Wade, Melo, all those young kids were coming, right? So that's one of those legendary Kobe Bryant stories. Will give you another one, another legendary Kobe Bryant story. So there was this reporter. This is out in Miami. There's this reporter. Everybody's going out. I don't know, maybe Friday night or something. Everybody's going out, doing their thing, and this reporter sees this dude in a hotel working out. Probably like 9 o'clock or something. 9 o'clock, everybody's going out, right? It's like early in the morning, like 2, 3 a.m. He looks back. He sees some dudes still working out in the hotel. Happened to be Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, when other people are doing what they're doing, when other people sleeping, when other people hanging out, Kobe was working. And that's why Kobe was as great as he was. There was really nobody like he was such a unique player. He was a person that showed that hard work equals results. And you could see it with the precision in his game, man. That dude was so precise. He was so particular. He was just one of those dudes that was just legendary, man. So if you appreciate Kobe, um, definitely, if you grew up in the era of Kobe, definitely enjoy, savor those moments. And if you didn't grow up in the era of Kobe, if you're a young person, go back and watch some of the Kobe highlights, man. Kobe just enjoyed the game. He mastered the game. He was a legend of the game. And in his last game, he dropped 60 points to end it off. The Lakers weren't very good that year, but he ended it off masterfully. Kobe Bryant. God bless in Jesus' name, amen. I'm gonna come back with another video.